Hello everyone, my name is Rob and welcome to the Dad's Our Job FPL show. Heads up, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so apologies if I sneeze or cough while I'm trying to talk to you guys. Hopefully that doesn't ring in your ears and come down the airways and get you infected. It's been a rough week, but I'm definitely getting there. However, what hasn't been rough is FPL. I'm very much looking forward to talking to you about that. But before I do, family checkout. I hope your families are well. I hope everyone is doing okay. At our house, we've opened the floodgates for Halloween. Halloween has come, and it is a time where everything is starting to take on an autumnal shade. And it's lovely. Why do I like it? It's just that season of happiness, isn't it? We've got all of the Halloween stuff happening and that leads into Christmas. It's just a good time to be alive, and it's a time where we can start thinking about the end of the year and enjoying each other's company. So, with that being said, let's start talking about FPL. So, before I review my FPL performance, I have some apologies to make because the players that I talk about are not the players that were in my FPL draft in the podcast last week. I will talk about the why of that later, but for now, please just accept my apologies. So, this is how my team performed. Flecken with 2, Big Gabs with 1, Konate with 7, Konsa on 1, Semenyo on 7, Rogers on 7, Palmer with a whopping 25, Saka as my captain on 6, Watkins 11, Haaland with 2, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 1, which means my total week's points were 70. And before I move on, I just kind of want to talk about individual performances that I think were particularly good and will hold me in good stead going forward. So with Konate, he scored a goal in that game, and he's on 2 returns on the bounce. He's 10% owned, and he's only 5.2 million. So if you're looking for a route into the Liverpool defence and you can't afford the traditional Trents and Robinsons, he could be a good way in, but he's also a handy differential. And I can't remember where I heard the statistic. It might have been on the radio or it might have been in a podcast. But apparently he is the number 1 defender for winning duels in the air. So he looks like he's the type of player that's going to continue to start the slot. So definitely worth considering. Semenyo got his goal against Leicester, and he got a goal in his previous game, and he's got Leicester next before having Arsenal. So he's good for at least next game week if you're looking for a punt. He's only 5.7 million, and he's a handy enabler if you're looking to pad your midfield elsewhere. Rogers is now on 2 returns on the bounce as well. He is only 5.2 million. I will not be surprised if he continues to rise. Again, a good enabler, and he's got Man United, Fulham and Bournemouth next. And after beating Bayern yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if Aston Villa won all of those games. Palmer is just a points machine, isn't he? He's returned 4 times out of 6 this season, and he's got Forest next. And what's to say that he couldn't do that again? I'm really glad I own him, and I'm really glad that the changes I was forced to make allowed me to get him. And then Watkins is on 4 returns on the bounce. He's at 9.1 million. He's so good, but also when I eventually look to switch, I'm going to have money to be able to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if he returned against Man United, Fulham and Bournemouth, particularly with Man United and Bournemouth's defences. Fulham are a little bit tidier, and you expect Leno to command the box more, but you wouldn't be surprised, or you wouldn't put money against Watkins returning against all of those. And then just a quick mention about Haaland. Haaland's finally been stopped this season by a fantastic Newcastle performance. But even with the goal he scored against Arsenal and the 3 bonus points he was rewarded for that, he still had 2 relatively quiet game weeks. So I am worried for Fulham, Wolves and Southampton, and for me personally, I think there's a good chance that he's going to be my captain for those next 3 game weeks, because I think he is going to score a bundle of points. So for the most part, my team returned really well. But how did that look like in terms of the overall impact in my league positionings? I achieved 70 points, which I'm really pleased about. I always set myself a target of 60 plus, so 70 in a wildcard week was just about okay. In terms of my league positionings, I got another green arrow pretty much across the board. I went from the overall ranking of 2.2 million to just over 1 million, so 1.2 million improvement. Overall, I probably had a better wild card than most, and that's mostly thank you to Palmer. But that was only brought around because of some changes I made late on, which I will talk about. In the league that matters, the Dad's Our Job FPL Podcast League, I went from 8th to 4th, and actually the gap was 50. So to be able to bring that down was really encouraging, and sort of motivated me to think I can get this done soon. I can get to the top of the table soon. I'm now only 25 points off from top. That person is still Callum, and I'm still determined to knock him off. Nobody should be having this good of a debut season in FPL. On the other side of the coin, I'm over 100 points ahead of Adam, so I'm not currently looking over my shoulder for him. He's got a lot of work to do if he's going to catch up the rest of us. If you would like to join our league, it's always good to have new people join. It's PXWTLY, that's the code. Come along and give us a run for our money, because we're having a really good time there. The competition is tight and new people are welcome. So get yourself involved. Next question. What the hell happened to my wild card? So it got to Friday night and Raya was still flagged, and I just thought to myself, I can't take this risk. I need to make sure I've got a starting goalkeeper. And of all the other goalkeepers available, Flecken just about had the best run. I did consider Sanchez at Chelsea, but I just don't think he's a reliable enough goalkeeper, and I think Flecken is better. So I went with Flecken, even if long term I would prefer to have Raya. So if I hadn't changed my team and I'd gone with my original plan, this is what my team would have looked like. Raya on 1, Gab on 1, Konate on 7, Akanji on 2, Semenyo on 7, Rodgers on 7, Diaz on 2, Saka on 6, Haaland on 2, Watkins on 11, and Solanke on 6. Sitting on the bench would have been Virginia, Keane, Winks and Harwood-Bellis. Their returns would have brought me to 52 overall. Well, largely in part to Palmer. I've got 70 overall, 18 points better off, and have just about got myself in seeing distance of the top 1 million. So the choices paid off, but I do want to confess that I would only have made that change. I only made that change because of the Raya flag, and that kind of pushed me into making the changes. They paid off for me this time, but it was a gamble. When I saw Raya on the starting sheet on Saturday, I was fuming, but c'est la vie. This time the odds were in my favour. I think overall that my squad depth is better though. By taking him out, it allowed me to upgrade to Palmer and remove Solanke to bring in Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Konza. So I think it allows me more options, but long term, the goal is to set and forget Raya as my starting goalkeeper. So plans going forward, I'm intending to roll for at least the next 2 game weeks, which will give me 2 free transfers, unless there is a move that I need to make that's necessary. My main goal going forward is to try and find a way to shoehorn Raya into my team, and that will likely involve losing either Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Semenyo. However, Raya's fixtures are awful after Bournemouth. We have Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, and Chelsea away. So I could hold Flecken until after Arsenal play Chelsea in November, and then look to make the Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Semenyo change. Then it's a little bit messy, and this will obviously depend on how things go. But my early thoughts are potentially looking at bringing in Delap for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and then using the money to bring in Raya if the money's available. But then also I could consider bringing in either McNeil from Everton or Emil Smith-Rowe for Semenyo after he plays Leicester, because then he's got Arsenal, Villa and Man City on the bounce, so you wouldn't really expect too many points there, whereas McNeil and Emil Smith-Rowe have much more favourable fixtures. So I think that brings me to a close. I'm really happy with my team. I can't see myself making too many changes unless I'm forced into them, and the obvious ones are looking to replace Flecken, long-term replace Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and probably closer to that, replacing Semenyo after he's played Leicester. Guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate you coming along. Don't forget to join our FPL League. The code is PXWTLY. If you like what you hear, please follow, subscribe and rate our pod. It really helps. And if you'd like to talk FPL or just football in general, please feel free to follow me on threads at RobHorton86. And until next time, take care.